With no introduction, Moazzam Begg. Thank you.
I'm sorry to interrupt at this point, Moazzam.
Sorry, I don't think we can take
My name is Daniel Obachike. I'm tired of people.
Sorry, you can't interrupt. You can't
standing here with MPs.
You can't interrupt the speaker.
I am a survivor from the 7/7 bus in Tavistock Square. They blamed it on an 18-year-old Muslim teenager. There was no such person on board that bus in London in 2005. My name is Daniel Obachike. I'm a survivor, a witness who has been trailed by the intelligence service for the past 5 years. That's all I wish to say. There are things that you are not aware of. British intelligence did 7/7. They destroyed that bus. Thank you.
British intelligence destroyed a lot of lives, actually. British intelligence have been involved in quite clearly the torture and the complicity of British citizens around the world. And that's been documented in reports compiled by many organisations. In fact, recently British intelligence have been targeting people from the Somali community because of what's taking place in Somalia. But I just want to tell you something about what my little part of the conference is supposed to be about. I'm married to a Palestinian woman, and I'm of Pakistani origin. Sometimes we say that our children are from Pakistan. You can laugh at that. And if you look at what's happening in the war on terror, clearly all roads lead back to Jerusalem. They lead back to Palestine. My wife was parents who were thrown out in 1948 and has never been able to return to Palestine. They hold on to the documents of their land, hoping, dreaming that one day they'll go back to Jaffa or Yafa and be able to take care of those orange tree orchards. But they can never do that because they have no right to return. They are people who simply don't matter. And this is the point. This really is the point. In the name of the deaths, the tragic and terrible deaths of 2,976 people on September 11th, 52 people here, 191 in Madrid. How many people have we killed? How many people have we killed in Afghanistan and Iraq and Palestine and Lebanon and Somalia and Pakistan? Who knows? Who cares? And here's the point, who counts? Nobody gives a damn about the other. Nobody gives a damn if it's 50,000 or 500,000 or 1 million or 2 million. Because as George Orwell said in Animal Farm, some people, everybody's equal, but some people are more equal than others. That's the reality. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about a separation of ideas in terms of how we treat people, how we look at them. That they are simply lesser beings. And that is how we, in this country, have dealt with people of different backgrounds and origins. And it is so surprising and bizarre. As a child, I went to a Jewish school, so I grew up reading from the Torah, learning Hebrew. And I knew that from this community there were people who terribly suffered. So it's even more unbelievable that the state that was created, supposedly to protect the people who suffered, has become almost identical in the way that it regards the people that it is occupied and dealing with. Just recently I've received information that the racial corridor has been boarded. Hopefully nobody's been hurt. But the reality is that the people who were killed, if you look at the language used by the Israeli politicians, they have said that these were supporters and sympathizers of Hamas and Al-Qaeda. So here we go again with the language of fear and terror used to demonize and justify the killing of innocent civilians. And if we move along here into the UK and see what have we done in response to 9/11 and in response to July 7th, we've seen a series of anti-terror legislation and measures and ideas the likes of which this country, the land of habeas corpus and human rights, the likes of which we have never seen before. Not even at the height of the IRA campaign, when 10 Downing Street itself was targeted, when the MI5 building itself was rocketed, when Harrods was bombed, when Guildford and Enniskillen and Birmingham, and even as late as 1998, Omar, the bombing there killed 29 people. You could only detain a person pre-trial for 7 days. Now it's 28, now successive leaders in the past wanted 56 and 1942 days. It's failed every time. But the atmosphere was created and they knew it. And that was because it was open season on all things Muslim. The types of things that we've seen today, we have people held in secure units that were built originally for the IRA in places like the Long Martin prison, where people have been held for 12 years without charge or trial on extradition orders or on deportation orders. On an extradition treaty with the United States of America that is non-reciprocal, that doesn't have to show any prima facie evidence at all. And there are British citizens being held there who have never been charged with a crime in this country, ever. And there are other individuals who were detained quite directly after the September 11th attacks, who were held in Belmarsh. In fact, the day that I returned from Guantanamo, I was met by my great friend and lawyer, Gareth Pearce, who told me that although I'm really happy to see you, I have to rush off because the House of Lords is going to be passing a decision imminently about the holding of these people at Belmarsh and how it's unconstitutional that Britain has been holding these people, 13 men, for as long as you were in Guantanamo. So Britain's own Guantanamo was created in during the time of the passage of Britain, and is still here. And then we had a series of control orders, the likes of which, again, we have never seen, that are tantamount to house arrest for people primarily because they're Muslims, but also because they're foreigners, and they're easy targets. They are asylum seekers also. So it's easy to trample upon their rights. And what do they do in response? Very little. They appeal to small organizations and ask, can you please help me? Can you please help my children have some sort of a normal life because they can't have internet at home and they can't have visitors at home. And in fact, the child thinks, I had it better when my father was in prison, even though he was detained without charge or trial. It was better for me as a child to have no father at home. Finally, I want to finish on one thing. The case of Shaka Armour was mentioned. Shaka Armour was held with me in Guantanamo and has been there for 9 years. 9 years. His wife and children are all British citizens. They are all from London. His children were all born here in the UK. His youngest child, Faris, he has never seen in his life. Can you imagine that? A 9-year-old child in this city, a British child, living in this city, who has never seen his father in his entire life, because he's been held in the world's most notorious prison, that the world's most powerful man said within days of coming into power that he will close down that place, but it remains open to this day. And in fact, when he said that he'll close the place down, he said he'd stop torture, and he closed down the CIA detention sites. And all the while, he ordered a policy that ordered attacks, drone attacks, by unmanned aircraft onto the northwestern regions of Pakistan, the likes of which Bush never even did. So it has inflamed Pakistani opinion. And I can tell you that the majority of Muslims in this country hail from Pakistan. So what effect does it have on our entire community? And again, if you think that people, detaining people, torturing them, beating them, abusing them, and putting them into dark dungeons for years on end without trial or trial was terrible, then imagine what it's like to say that it's much more expedient and efficient to simply strike them with an unmanned aircraft and target that assassination and kill hundreds of people because, as I said before, they don't count. So the thing that I would like to say to you all, please, is please get involved in the campaign, at least to free Shaka Armour, to petition the government, to put pressure on the government, to call for his return and reunification with his family who've been waiting for 9 years to be reunited with a man who has never been charged with a crime, and there's no intention to charge him with a crime.